Hello everyone. In the last episode, you have studied about how different European countries came through sea routes and established their trade centers in India. In this episode, we will discuss about the strategies adopted by the British to establish their trade in Bengal and how did this lead to the battle between the East India Company and the local rulers. The English East India Company had a very humble beginning in India. Its first factory was established in the south at Masulipatam in the year 1611. But very soon the company shifted its center of all its activities to Madras. By 1623, it had also established factories at Surat, Bhruch, Ahmedabad and also Agra. In Bengal, the company set up its first factory on the bank of Hooghly River in 1651. The company's traders operated from here. The factory had a warehouse from where goods for export were stored, and it also had offices for the company officials. As their trade expanded, the company built two more factories in Bengal at Kasim Bazar in 1658 and in Dhaka in the year 1668, which is presently in Bangladesh. The company persuaded merchants and traders to come and settle near the factories. They were also helped by the local merchants and traders to export the goods. The major goods which the East Indian Company exported from India were cotton, indigo dye, silk, and satt. In 1690, the trade expanded and the company began to establish their political dominance in Bengal. In the year 1696, the company started to build a fort around their settlements. And in 1698, the company acquired zamindari rights over three villages, Kalikata, Sultanati and Govindapur. Do you know who the zamindars were and what rights they had? The term zamindar means landowner. They held enormous tracts of land in control over their peasants. The zamindars enjoyed their rights to collect tax on behalf of the king or for military purposes. They were also the rulers of the princely states and were given the title Nawab. After getting the zamindari rights over these three villages, the company built a fort and named it as Fort William. These three villages soon grew into a city which came to be known as Calcutta and presently renamed as Kolkata. The company persuaded Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb to issue a farman granting them the right to do trade duty free. You might be thinking, what is a farman and what is trade duty? Farman is a royal order issued by the king, and trade duty is the tax paid by the traders. Like the peasants who had to pay tax on their land, the traders also had to pay tax for their trade. The farman helped the British to do their trade without paying tax to the state. However, the company tried to get more concessions and privileges from the local rulers. After the death of Aurangzeb in 1707, the East India Company started to misuse the Farman. Aurangzeb had only granted the company the right to do trade duty free and not private trading by its officials. But the company officials started private trade and refused to pay duty for that. This caused a great loss of revenue to Bengal. Therefore, the Nawabs of Bengal, Murshid Qali Khan and later Alivardi Khan, refused to give any more concessions to the East India Company. The Nawabs exercised strict control over the British traders and prevented them from misusing their privileges. They did not allow the company to strengthen the fort at Calcutta and rule the city independently. Now, this led to intensified conflicts between the Nawabs and the company. Murshid Qali Khan made the company officials pay duty for their private trade at the custom house or chowkis. However, the company officers wanted a dastak, a pass or a permit to do their trade without paying taxes to the state. After the death of Murshid Qali Khan in 1727, Shujauddin Khan captured power. Shujauddin Khan followed the policies of Murshid Qali Khan. However, he tried to avoid any kind of a conflict with the company officials. But trade of salt became another source of conflict between the company and Nawab. The company claimed that salt was a duty-free item, but the Nawabs disagreed. This led to a warlike situation, but it somehow diffused. Shujauddin Khan ruled up to 1739. He was then followed by Alivardi Khan, who ruled up to 1756. Alivardi Khan also followed strict rules against the East India Company. He was succeeded by Siraj-ud-Daulah in April 1756. Siraj-ud-Daulah refused to permit the company to do their trade duty free. He directed the company to follow 3 conditions if they wanted to continue their trade in Bengal. The first condition was that the company must demolish and stop extending the unauthorized fortification in Bengal. And secondly, they asked to stop usage of dastak. And also they said that the East India Company should follow the laws of the land. The Fort William Council refused to follow the Nawab's orders. The company declared that it was unjust to impose duty on their trade. The company's trade could flourish only if the duties were removed. Expansion of trade required extension of settlements, buy-up of villages and rebuilding of the forts. But the Nawabs of Bengal disregarded all these claims and instead demanded large tributes for the company's trade. He denied it any right to mint coins and stopped it from extending its fortification. The conflicts between company and the Nawab led to confrontation and finally culminated in the Battle of Plassey. Children, in this episode you have seen the strategies adopted by the British to establish trade in Bengal and how did this lead to confrontations between the company and the rulers of Bengal. In the next episode, you will learn about Battle of Plassey and changes it brought in the East India Company's trade in India. Thank you.